Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about sexual expression in the context of Z psychology. Sexual problems that arise in human relationships that directly affect others are caused by the expression of sexuality. Of course, before there is a sexual expression that can cause sexual problems, distorted values and ideas are formed from perceiving and remembering sexuality. But even if you have distorted values and ideas, they will not directly cause damage or affect others if you only have them as thoughts without expressing them. We first perceive some information from the outside world. Our unconscious mind works with our memories to determine whether or not the perceived information is about sex, and then moves to bring it into our conscious awareness, creating moods and feelings such as joy, anger, pleasure, or sorrow around the perceived information. The problem is that when this unconscious mind is at work, the expression is always at work as well, and since over 90% of our expressions are unconscious, we may not be aware of them at all, or if we are aware of them, it's only after we've already expressed them that we recognize them again, and we are aware of what we have expressed. What we express is what we say verbally, what we do with our hands, feet, and other gestures, and the expressions on our faces. And then there are thoughts, which are internal expressions that don't show up externally. The thoughts that we have and the facial expressions and gestures that we make on purpose are conscious and intentional expressions that we are aware of, but they are actually less than 10% of our total expression. To make the 10% of conscious expression, there is 90% of unconscious expression that goes on. The same is true for sexual expression. Sexual words, sexual facial expressions, and all other sexual behaviors are all sexual expressions. And the problem is that less than 10% of our sexual expressions are conscious and intentional, and the other 90% are unconscious, which is why they are so dangerous. That's why sex education is so problematic, because you can only consciously control less than 10% of the sexual information that you receive through knowledge education. Control over sexual expression must be made 10% consciously and 90% unconsciously, which justifies the argument that the power of control must be formed in the unconscious habits. We don't casually touch the body of the opposite sex in general relationships. Is this really conscious control? The knowledge and experiences that we have lived through create habits in our unconscious minds, and they are controlled before we become conscious of them. However, some people, regardless of whether they are male or female, casually touch the body of the opposite sex, and we can think that they lack knowledge and experience. When wounds and stress are operating powerfully in the unconscious mind, sexuality is often activated to repair those wounds and stress. Sexual attention, comfort, and sexual expression are much more powerful than normal processing of information, so women who are overwhelmingly hurt think they are creating love and happiness through sexual expression, and men who are overwhelmingly stressed think they are creating stress relief and passion through sexual pleasure. All of this is unconscious, not conscious, and the problem is that when they happen in relationships, they affect other people. The unconscious is a part of sexual expression that we shouldn't miss. It's important to keep in mind that the only way we can have healthy control over our sexual expression is that we develop the right values and perceptions about sex as unconscious habits.